company has 15 directors, out of which 14 directors are present at a board meeting. At the time of discussion on a particular business, 11 directors are interested as per the provisions of section of 184(2). Is the quorum present? What would be your answer in case of 14 directors were present? As per section 174, quorums will one-third of the total strength or two directors, whichever is higher. Interested directors shall not be counted in the quorum. Further, section 174 subsection 3 provides that where at any time the number of interested directors exceeds or becomes equals to two-thirds of the total strength of the board of directors, the quorum shall be the number of disinterested directors who are the present, subject to minimum of 2 directors. Here in this case क्या हुआ है, इसमें क्या हुआ है कि 11 in the given case in normal circumstance the quorum would be 5 directors, that is one-third of 15 directors or 2 directors, whichever is higher. But since for a particular business 11 directors are interested, which are more than two-third of the total strength, two-third का which are more than two-third मतलब 10 directors से ज्यादा है, two-third 15 का two-third 10 हो गया, तो 10 से ज्यादा 11 directors है, तो फिर हमें वो वाली लिमिट करनी पड़ेगी. Quorum is to be determined as per section 174 subsection 3. In such a case, quorum shall be remaining disinterested present at the meeting, that is 3 directors, subject to a minimum of 2 directors. Thus, here the quorum shall be considered as 3 directors, and since after excluding interested directors, 3 directors were present, we can conclude that the quorum was present. In case of 14 directors are interested, then also the quorum shall be determined by section 174 subsection 3. And in that case, quorum shall be remaining of disinterested directors, that is one. एक बाकी रहो क्योंकि 15 માંથી 14 તો interested છે, તો ખાલી એક જ બાકી રહ્યો, or 2 directors, whichever is higher. So here the quorum should be considered as 2 directors, but the meeting has been attended by only one disinterested director, so we can pronounce that the quorum is not present. In such an exceptional situation, the board may adopt any of the following measures. जो जो quorum present नहीं હોય, ખાલી બેઝ મેજર પહેલા બે વસ્તુ ફૂલફિલ કરવી પડે, તો શું છે, કાં તો પહેલા એડિશનલ ડિરેક્ટર્સ અપનાવો, કાં તો પછી summon a general meeting and put such particular business before the meeting. We may consider આગળ क्या करना है, मतलब जनरल मीटिंग बुलाओ क्या तो एडिशनल डायरेक्टर्स ने बोर्ड मीटिंग में अपॉइंट कर दो. Now, question 22. Examine the following with reference to the provisions of Companies Act. A board meeting of IO Limited was called to be held on 8th August 2022 at Sachin Tendulkar Auditorium, Surat at 4 p.m. However, due to lack of quorum, the meeting could not be held. Discuss the consequences. मतलब हुई नहीं, पहली मीटिंग हुई नहीं, तो उसका consequences क्या होगा? As per since a board meeting was held on 8th August, could not be for want of quorum, and assuming the articles were silent on this, state meeting shall be stand adjourned as per section 1 in the next week, that is on 15th August. However, as 15th August is a national holiday, next succeeding day, the meeting shall stand adjourned at 16th August 2022 at Sachin Tendulkar Auditorium, Surat at 4 p.m. Second question क्या है? A board meeting of PU Limited was called to be held on Saturday, 1st October 2022 at 4 p.m. at Shahid Bhagat Singh Auditorium, Surat. However, due to lack of quorum, the meeting could not be held. The articles of the company are silent in case of board meeting is not held for want of quorum. The chairperson, with the consent of the directors present, decide that the board meeting shall be adjourned to next Monday, 3rd October, at the same place and at the same time. Discuss the validity of the decision not possible since the board held on 1st October, the could not be held for want of quorum. Then, as per section 132, the same shall, in the absence of any provisions in the articles, automatically stand adjourned in the next week. That is Saturday, 8th October at 4 p.m. at Shahid Bhagat Singh, Surat. Thus, the decision of and the directors present at the adjournment meeting to Monday is not valid as per the provisions of section 174. 174 એવું કહે છે કે જ્યારે બી બોર્ડ મીટિંગ એડજર્ન થશે તો નેક્સ્ટ ડે સેમ ટાઈમ પર જ થવી જોઈએ, બીજો કોઈ ટાઈમ તમે સિલેક્ટ નહીં કરી શકો. Now, a board meeting of Cocomelon Limited was called to be held on Sunday, 2nd October 2022 at 4 p.m. at Kishore Kumar Auditorium, Surat. However, due to lack of quorum, the meeting could not be held. The articles of the company are silent in case board meeting is not held for want of quorum. Thus, as per section 174, the state adjourned in the next week, same day, same time and same place, that is on Sunday, 9th October 2000. However, few directors have raised an objection that the adjourned meeting cannot be held on Sunday. Whether the objection no, it can be held. However, Sunday is not a national holiday. Thus, the objection raised by the few directors that it cannot be held on Sunday is not valid. Technical question 23. Proximal Limited has 9 directors, out of whom 3 directors have gone abroad. The chairman had an urgent matter to be approved by the board of directors, which could not be postponed till the next board meeting. The company therefore circulated the resolution for approval of the directors. 4 out of 6 directors in India approved the resolution. The company claimed that the resolution was passed, examined. As per section 175, a circular shall be deemed to have been passed if it has been approved by a majority of the directors. In the given case, there are 9 directors. And assuming that none of them is an interested director, all the 9 directors, including 3 directors who are abroad, are entitled to vote on the resolution. So the circular resolution shall be deemed to have been passed if it is approved by 5 or more members. 5 or more members अगर approve कर सर तो But in the given case, only 4 directors have approved the resolution, and hence the circular resolution shall not be deemed to have been passed. Thus, the resolution shall be considered to be invalid. मतलब મેજોરિટી અપ્રૂવ કરવું જોઈએ, ટોટલ બધાને મોકલવાના 9 માંથી 5 મેજોરિટી પાસ થઈ જશે તો પાંચે પાંચે અપ્રૂવ કરવા પડે, પણ અહીંયા ખાલી 4 જ કર્યા છે, so it is not valid. Practical question 24. There are 7 directors in BUI Limited. A resolution relating to operating a branch office of the company in a place outside the state where the registered office is situated in draft together with necessary papers were circulated among the directors seeking their approval by circulation. Four directors from among total 7 directors approved the proposal. 4 directors from 7 directors approved the proposal. 3 directors who did not approve the proposal opposed the validity of the proposal on the following ground that the resolution was circulated by email and not by hand delivery. કોઈ બી મોડમાં કરી શકે, ઈ મોડમાં બી ચાલશે, એટલે એ તો valid છે. Secondly, that the more than one third of the number of directors now requires that the resolution must be decided at the meeting of the board of directors and not by circulation. Here, by the circulation necessary by there is a condition of 3 directors. Further, since majority they have approved the circulation passed shall be considered to be valid. The resolution have been with respect to circulation and necessary by electronic means the prescribed email fax. Thus, the contention of 3 directors that the survey is invalid on the ground are not circulated by hand delivery post or circular is not tenable as circular. આ tenable નથી કારણ કે email is allowed, email allowed છે. Second શું હતું કે second point show though. Secondly, the more okay, pass થઈ ગયું. As per section 175, in case of one third of the total number of directors of the company request, the resolution must be passed at a board meeting and circular shall not be passed and resolution shall be passed only at a board meeting. But such a request must be made before the passing of the resolution by circulation and not other resolution has been passed. અહીંયા સુધી resolution pass થઈ ગયું પછી કર્યું. Thus, the condition of 3 directors, since one third of total number of directors requires that the resolution must be decided at a meeting and not by circulation is not tenable. Because any type of such request or instance has to be made before the circular resolution is passed. Circular resolution passed એની પહેલા તમે કરો તો બરાબર જ થઈ ગયું, પછી તમે રેટિફાઈ કરવા કે 1/3 કદાચ એક્સેપ્ટ થઈ ગયું તમારું તો એ પોસિબલ નથી, it's not valid. Now, practical question 25. Mr. Smart was appointed as the managing director of a public limited company for a period of 5 years, effective from 1/4/2017. It is noticed that he performed certain acts on behalf of the company after the expiry of his term. Some of the aggrieved parties have questioned the validity of the meaning. As per section 1, no act done by a person as a director shall be deemed to be invalid if it was subsequently noticed that his appointment any defect or disqualification or has been terminated by virtue of any provisions contained in the act or in the articles of the company. However, the act of the director shall not be valid when it comes to the notice of the company that his appointment has been terminated. Thus, if the director continued to perform his duties in good faith and in a bona fide manner without him being aware that the appointment has already been terminated, section 176 gives protection in cases by providing that such bona fide acts done shall remain valid even though the appointment was terminated. But in the given case, Mr. Smart's office of managing director had terminated not due to any defect or disqualification or by virtue of any provision of the but the same had been terminated since his term had expired. So it was not that Mr. Smart was unaware of the same and continued to perform his duties in good faith. Hence, the acts done by Mr. Smart after the expiry of his term shall not be वैलिड. मतलब उसको पता था, कंपनी को भी पता था कि ऐसा नहीं कर सकता, फिर भी उसने काम किया तो shall not be valid. MTV was appointed as a director at the AGM of a limited company held on 30th September 2022 and he carried on his duties and functions as a director. In the month of August 2023, it was found that there was a certain irregularities in his appointment, and on 31st August 2023 his appointment was declared invalid, but Mr. MTB continued to act as a director even after 31st August 2023. You are requested nature also any defect. However, the acts of the director shall not be validated but when it comes to the notice of the company, when it comes to the notice of the company that his appointment has been terminated, or when it is noticed by the company that his acts are ultra as the company's act. In the above case, there were some irregularities in the appointment of Mr. made on 30th September, but those irregularities come into notice of the company on in August 20, and his appointment was declared invalid on 31st August. In the meantime, Mr. MTP continued to perform his duties as a director in good faith and in modified manner. Applying the provision of section 176, it can be concluded that the acts done by Mr. MTP up to 31st August 2000 shall be valid and binding upon the company. But any act done by Mr. MTP after it comes to the notice of the company that the appointment has been terminated, that is after 31st August, shall not be validated as per section 176, and hence this shall not be valid and binding on the company. Now, practical question 27. X Limited wants to constitute an audit committee. What would be the minimum likely turnover of the company? Turnover of the company 100 crore થઈ જશે, વાંધો નથી. What is the role of the audit committee vice versa statutory audit when the company wishes to engage them in the into perform certain engagements? Every listed public companies having paid up capital 10 crore turnover 100 crores, public companies which have in aggregate outstanding loans, debentures or they are exceeding rupees 50 crores. Thus, the minimum likely turnover of would be 100 crore or more, or its paid up share but it should be 10 crore or more. Role of the audit committee is shall call the comments of the auditor about internal control system. The auditor shall review the financial statement before the submission. The audit commission shall discuss any related issues with the internal and statutory auditors and the management of the company. Practical question 28, referring the provision of Companies Act, examine the following. XYZ Limited, a listed company, has constituted an audit committee consisting of 5 members, out of whom 2 are independent directors. Consisting of 5 members, out of whom 2 are independent. Subsequently, the company increased the composition of audit committee to 6 members with 3 independent directors. Pallu case, in the given case, XY has no of 5 members which is in compliance with the law as the audit must have minimum 3 members. The majority of the members must be independent. So in this case, out of 5 members, 3 independent directors should be there in this committee. But XY has appointed only 2 independent directors, but in the audit committee, and thus the composition of the audit committee is not in accordance with the law. Subsequently, XYZ Limited increased the composition to 6 with 3 independent directors, which is still not in compliance with the law, as out of 6 members, majority directors, at least 4 members should be independent directors. मतलब provision जो है हमारे independent directors में minimum 3 members होगा चाहिए, but एमाथी majority should be independent directors. Practical question 29. MNC Limited constituted an audit committee as required by the SEDAT. The committee in its report dated 30th April 2022 has pointed out various irregularities in the financial transactions entered into by the company. The management of the company does not agree with the contents of the audit committee report. Explain the actions that can be committed. As per section the board's report under section 134 subsection 3 shall disclose the following: composition of audit committee and circumstances in which the auditor has not accepted any recommendation of the audit committee alone with the reason that in the given case, the audit committee in its report has pointed out various irregularities in the financial transactions entered into by the company. However, the board of directors does not agree with the report of the audit committee. Section 177 does not require that the recommendations of the audit committee are binding on the board. The board may or may not accept the recommendations of the audit committee. However, since the recommendations of the audit committee are not accepted by the board of finance, they shall be required as per section 177 to disclose in the board of directors report made under section 134 section the recommendation made by the audit committee which were not accepted by the board, the reasons for non acceptance. કે શું રેકમેન્ડેશન શું આપેલા અને કેમ બોર્ડ એક્સેપ્ટ નથી કરતું તેના રીઝન્સ તે બે વસ્તુ લખીને આપવી પડશે. Now practical question 30. Mr. Masers Dreamworks Limited, an unlisted company without any public deposits as per the audited financial statements of the company as on March 31st, gives you the following: paid up share capital 20 crores, gross turnover 500 crores, bank borrowings 40 crores from a nationalized bank, other borrowings rupees 40 crores from a PFI. Mr. Gupta, chartered accountant employed in the finance and audit department of the company, wants to form a vigil mechanism for directors and employees. Advise whether as per section every listed company applicable છે. Companies which accepts deposit from the public and the companies which have borrowed money from banks and PFI in excess of rupees 50 crores. Banks and PFI 80 crore થઈ ગયા. In the given case, Dreamworks is an unlisted but it has borrowed a sum of rupees 40 crore from a national and a sum of from PFI. Therefore, 80 crore નું loan પેલી બે જગ્યા થયું borrowed money from financial institutions is mandatorily required for formulating vigil mechanism as per section 177. Or are there any penalties? Yes, penalties છે. Though the company shall be liable to a penalty of rupees 5 lakhs. Every officer in default shall be liable to a penalty of rupees 1 lakh. Now, with practical question 31. Masons Multiplex Builders Limited is contemplating to enter into a joint venture agreement with another construction company for the development of landed properties located at Delhi. Since it is not possible to convene the board meeting immediately as the directors are at different places in connection with various works, the managing director seeks your advice on the following matters: whether the resolution pertaining to the joint venture agreement is required to be passed at the board meeting convened for this purpose, or whether it can be passed by means of a circular resolution. The companies that permits the board to pass resolution, however, where the provision of the act of the may prescribe certain matters where resolution is to be passed only at a meeting. Section 1 prescribes such matters where circulation. Therefore, there are few other provisions in the law where passing. However, there is no provision in the law which prohibits passing in relation to joint ventures agreement. Thus, the resolution pertaining to joint venture agreement can be passed by the board by means of circular resolution. JV na decisions joint RBC થી થઈ શકે છે. JV joint venture agreements rotation by circulation થી સોલ્વ થઈ શકે છે. એમાં બોર્ડ મીટિંગ બોલાવવી કમ્પલસરી નથી. The steps that are required to be taken to pass the board resolution by circulation. Advise the managing director in the light. The resolution has to be circulated in draft together with the necessary papers, if any. Further, such resolution shall be deemed to have been passed if it has been approved by a majority of the directors. After it has been passed, it should be noted in the next meeting of the board and made part of the meetings of the subsequent meeting. અને આ જે સર્ક્યુલેટ કર્યો ડ્રાફ્ટમાં ઈ મોડમાં બી ચાલે અને હેન્ડ ડિલિવરી બી કોઈ બી મોડમાં ચાલે. Practical question 32. Advise the board of directors advise the board of directors Spectra Papers Limited regarding validity and extent of its powers under the provision of the Companies Act 2000 in relation to the buyback of the shares of the company up to 10% of the paid up equity share capital without passing a special resolution. Shall say Section 1 provides provided to be exercised by means of a at a, only that such powers cannot be exercised by passing a circular resolution. Includes power to Section 68 power the buyback is authorized. The buyback is authorized by a special is passed at a general meeting. Buyback articles authorized special resolution passed through the general meeting. However, a company may buy back its own shares without passing a special resolution. Without special resolution, ઘર બી કરી શકે ક્યારે બે condition છે. The buyback is 10% or less of aggregate of paid up share capital and free reserves. And the buyback is authorized by a resolution passed in a board meeting. Therefore, from a combined reading of the above project, we conclude that board can authorize the buyback of the shares of the company without passing a special resolution. If the buyback is up to 10% of the aggregate of the paid up equity share capital and free reserves, and the resolution authorizing the buyback is passed by the board at a board meeting only and not by way of circular resolution. मतलब board meeting માં જ થવું જોઈએ, circular resolution થી નહીં ચાલે. SR કર્યા વગર ચાલે, 10% ઓછું છે તો ચાલશે. A is a director of M and Company Limited. A has borrowed rupees 50 lakhs on reasonable terms from X for company's benefit and business. A has no power to borrow. What will be the legal position? Please explain. Section 1 requires certain powers to be exercised. In the given case, Mr. A, although not authorized, has borrowed money in the capacity of as a director of the company and for the company's benefit and business. So, if the money has been employed by the company for its business, it cannot shrug off its liability to repay the loan to a bona fide lender on the ground that money was borrowed by the director and not the company. The doctrine of indoor management shall protect the lender who has given loan in good faith and without knowledge of internal affairs of the company. Thus, the company shall be required to repay the loan to Mr. X if the money has been employed for the company's benefit and business. અગર કંપનીઝ બેનિફિટ માટે આપ્યો છે પેલા બીજાએ તો એનું એ તો ગુડ ફેથમાં જ આપતો હતો, એને તો અંદરનું થોડી ખબર હતી કે અંદર હું મગજમારી કરી તમે, તો એ તમારે પે તો કરવું જ પડશે, રીપે તો કરવું જ પડશે જો એ બિઝનેસ માટે વપરાવું છે તો. Practical question 34. Bigman Limited is a reputed public company, had advanced certain sum of money to one of its directors, namely Mr. Tanmay, on certain terms and conditions and fixing the time limit for repayment thereof. Now Mr. Tanmay has approached the company with a request to extend the time limit of repayment of balance of loans amounting to rupees 12 lakhs by another 6 months. Who is authorized to grant the extension as requested by Mr. Tanmay? Bigman Limited, reputed public company, advanced certain sum amount to one of its directors on certain terms and conditions, fixing time limit of repayment thereof. Okay. Now Mr. Tanmay has approached the company with a request to extend time limit for okay. Section 180 of the company specifies certain powers of the board that can be exercised only after obtaining the consent of the members by way of special resolution. Section 180 inter alia includes the power to remit or give time of the repayment of any debt due from a director. Thus, the board can extend the time limit of repayment of any debt from a director only if it is approved by members by way of special resolution. Thus, if the board decides to accept Mr. Tanmay's request to extend the time limit for repayment of loan, then the same can be done only after getting authorization from members by way of a special resolution. If the members don't pass a special, then the board cannot allow any such extension. Practical question 35. The paid up share capital and free reserves of XYZ Company Limited, a public company, is rupees 100 crores. Paid up share capital and free reserves 100 crores on 1st April 2014. The shareholders of the company at the annual general meeting held on 4th April 2014. 4th April 2014 by special resolution authorized the board of directors of the company to borrow money exceeding the paid up share capital and free reserves of the company to the extent required by the board of directors. The board of directors as a result borrowed money to an extent of rupees 130 crores, including rupees 20 crores as short-term loans and rupees 25 crores as temporary loans for financing the construction of a building of the company. Referring to the provision of the Companies Act, the board is exercising the power for borrowing to an extent of rupees 130 crores. What would be your answer? In the case of paid up share capital and free reserves increased to rupees 150 crores and borrowed to an extent of rupees 140. Okay. As per section 180 subsection 1 clause C, board shall exercise the power to borrow money only with the consent of the company by means of special reserve, where the company to be borrowed together with the money already borrowed by the company will exceed aggregate of its paid up share capital, free reserves and securities premium. However, temporary loans obtained from the company's bankers in the ordinary course of business shall not be considered as borrowing. Temporary loans, the aggregate of paid up share capital, free reserves and to rupees 100 the directors have borrowed rupees 130 crores, out of which rupees 20 crores is short term loan that is considered as temporary loan and hence won't be included in the borrowings. There is a loan of rupees 25 crores which has been borrowed for financing the construction of building, that is for financing capital expenditure, and so this amount of rupees 25 crores will not be considered as temporary loan and included will not be included in the borrowings, thus and will be included in the borrowings. Thus the borrowings by the board shall be considered as rupees 110 crores, 130 minus 20. मतलब आमाके वो जो टेम्पररी लोन्स ने एक्सक्लूड करवाना, बट अगर कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर માટે ફિનાન્સિંગ લાવ્યા હોય તો કેપ ફિનાન્સ લાવ્યા હોય તો टेम्पररी लोन एक्सक्लूड થશે, cap finance exclude नहीं થશે. The board could borrow money exceeding rupees 100 crores only with the consent of the shareholders in the general meeting by way of special resolution. Also, the special has passed at the general meeting must specify the total amount up to which the companies should be borrowed, but the special resolution passed by the members does not specify the total amount that could be borrowed by the board and hence will be considered as defective or invalid. Thus, the borrowing made by the board on the contravention of since the money borrowed rupees 100 crores is more than the aggregate paid up share capital, that is of rupees 100 crores, and no valid special resolution has been passed by the members. If the aggregate of the paid up share capital, free reserves and security is अगर पेलू 3 was to 150 crores and the borrowings of the company is rupees 140 crores, then no special resolution need to be passed as the borrowings are within the specified limit. Thus, in that case, the borrowings done by the board shall be considered to be in compliance with the provisions of the act. Now, section practical question 36. The last 3 years balance sheet of contains the following. In the ensuing the board meeting scheduled to be held on 5th November 2022, among other items of agenda, following item is also appearing. To decide about borrowing from financial institution on long term basis, okay. Based on the above information, you are required to find out as per the provision of the Companies Act the borrowings number 2022. Okay, as per the board shall okay. In the given case, the aggregate of paid up share capital 75,000 plus 60,000, 1,35,000 है. 1,35,000. It has been assumed that the net profit for the amounting would have been added while arriving at the figure of January, and accordingly it has not been considered. Again, further debenture is also not included as it is not a free reserve. Okay. Now the amount already borrowed is rupees 30 lakh થઈ ગયું છે. 30 lakh have been borrowed, so they can borrow up to. Therefore, applying the provisions of can make a further borrowings up to rupees 1 crore 5 lakh from financial on long term basis without requiring any consent of shareholders. But if the board wants to make a further borrowing in excess of rupees 1 crore and 5 lakhs on long term basis, then they would be required prior approval from members of the company by way of SR. It may be assumed that the existing secured loans of rupees 30 lakhs does not include any temporary loans obtained from companies bankers in the ordinary course of business. The Board of Directors of Stepping Stones Publications at a meeting held on 15th January 2023 resolved to borrow a sum of rupees 15 crores from a nationalized bank. Subsequently, the said amount was received by the company. One of the directors who opposed the said borrowing was not in the interest of the company has raised an issue that the said borrowing is outside the powers of the board of directors. The company seeks share capital 5 crores, reserve surplus 5 crores, 10 crores થઈ ગયું, under secured unsecured. Okay. In the given case, the aggregate of paid up share capital is share cap rupees 10 crores and the borrowings of the company are 20 crores. Thus, since the money borrowed is more than the aggregate of paid up share capital, free reserve and security, the board should have access only after applying approval of the members by means of a special resolution. But no such SR was passed, and hence the board has made such borrowings without proper authority. એ લોકોની પાસે authority જ નથી. 10 કરોડની औकात છે ને તમે 20 કરોડ તો હજુ અત્યાર સુધી લઈ લીધું, એની ઉપર કરવું છે તો બી SR નથી લેતા, થોડી ચાલે. પપ્પાના વાત થોડી છે. ચાલો. Practical question 30. The balance sheet of international operators as on 31st March 2022 disclose the following. Share capital 100, reserve and surplus 300, secured loans 150 છે ને unsecured loan 100 છે. આ 400 થઈ ગયું. Mr. X, managing director of the company, of the company approaches the Royal Bank for a secured loan of rupees 600 crores to finance the new projects to be taken up shortly. The bank seeks your advice whether it can grant the loans on the application. Mr. Okay. Internal prescribes the power to borrow money must be exercised only by the board and after passing a resolution at a board meeting only. However, the board may delegate the power of borrowing monies to the managing director on such conditions as it may specify by passing a resolution at its board meeting. As per section 1, okay, in the given case, the aggregate paid of rupees 400 crores, the company has already borrowed rupees 250 crores. The proposed borrowing is uh, the proposed borrowing of rupees 600 crores is done, and the borrowings will 850 crores will exceed the limit specified, and thereby members approval by a special SR choice shall be required for the same. Also, the resolution passed by the members must specify the total amount up to which borrowings can be done by the members. Thus, advice to the board shall be as follows: the bank must ensure that the power to borrow money has been delegated to the managing director by passing such resolution at the board meeting only. The bank should ensure that the consent of the members by way of special resolution has been obtained for the proposed borrowing. The special resolution must specify the total amount up to which the board is authorized to borrow money, and the amounts so specified must be rupees 850 crores or more. Practical question 39. Messrs. ABC Limited had power under its memorandum to sell its undertaking to another company having similar objects. The articles of the company contained a provision by which directors were empowered to sell or otherwise deal with the property of the company. The shareholders passed a special resolution for the sale of its assets on certain terms and required the directors to carry out the sale. The directors refused to comply with the wishes of the shareholders, whereupon it was contended on behalf of the shareholders that they were the principal and directors, being their agents, were bound to give effect to their decisions. Now, whether the contend against the non-compliance of the wishes by the director is tenable? No. Section 180 of the company specifies certain powers of the board. Okay. However, it is at the in the given case, even though the shareholders have passed a special resolution to sell the assets of the company on the certain terms, they cannot force the board to carry out such sale. Thus, the contention of the shareholders that they were the principal and directors being their agents were bound to give effect to their business is not tenable. मतलब ऐसा नहीं कह सकते भाई हमने ऐसा पास किया तो तुम बेचो ही वो डिसीजन तो बोर्ड के पास है अब अगर कोई डिसीजन के लिए ओपिनियन देना होगा आपका एसआर चाहिए होगा तो हम आएंगे बट अल्टीमेटली पावर हमारे पास ही है हाउ इट इज एट द discretion of the board whether to exercise such power or not merely because the section requires the board to obtain consent of the members doesn't mean shifting of authority to exercise such power from board to members. This is a power of board and they may or may not exercise such power. Members cannot force a board to exercise such power even by passing a special resolution. मतलब ऐसा नहीं बोल सकते कि भाई स्पेशल रेजोल्यूशन पास किया तो भाई कर ही कर ऐसा नहीं कर चल सकता. Now, section दूसरा कौन सा है? Can shareholders usurp the powers which by the articles are vested in the directors by passing a special resolution? Can shareholders usurp the powers which by the articles are vested in the directors by passing a special resolution? Even though the members are the owners of the company, they cannot usurp the powers which by the articles are vested in the directors by passing a special resolution or even a unanimous resolution. The powers of the board can be exercised by the board alone, and members cannot instruct the board to exercise a particular power even if the board doesn't wish to do so. Practical question 40. The following information is provided in respect of Miss Fortune's Limited under three different case scenarios on the borrowing powers of the board of directors of the company. Mr. Mooley, the CEO, the CFO seeks your advice with explanation to the nature of the resolution which needs to be passed under such of the scenarios as per the provision of section 180 subsection 1C of the Companies Act 2013. Detailed workings I पूछा. Case 1, Case 2, Case 3. Okay. Equity share capital, preference share capital, securities premium, free reserves. Total 270, 270, 270. Working capital नहीं है उससे because it's not taken from bankers. Cash credit limit from a scheduled bank. ये पिला माझे exclude થઈ जैसा 6 months. Maybe exclude થઈ 24 months loan. Okay. As per section, board shall exercise the power to borrow money with the consent of temporary movement. Okay. આમાં ठीक है અહીંયાથી ચાલુ કરી દઈએ aggregate of paid up share capital 270 270 270 existing borrowings working capital loan from it has been obtained from included in borrowings since it has not been obtained from companies bankers thus it is not a temporary loan 50 crore 50 crore 50 crore આવી જશે અહીંયા પછી proposed borrowing 6 months loan for purchase of plant and machinery from scheduled bank included in borrowings in such loan is to be utilized for financing capital expenditure and therefore not considered as temporary loans 30 40 and 130 3 વસ્તુ આવી જાય 24 months loan for purchase of branch including since the loan is repayable after 6 months. 6 months થી વધારે છે એટલે તો આવશે જ નહીં આમાં, એટલે 10 કરોડ 10 ને 20 હવે આમાં કેટલું થાય 90 110 और 330 કરોડ. સો પૂછ્યું શું છે કે એ લોકો detailed workings the following which needs to be passed into each of the scenarios. પછી આમાં શું છે તો total borrowings whether special resolution to be passed if b is greater than a, yes, and if b is less than or equal to a, then no. સ્પેશિયલ રિઝોલ્યુશન આમાં નો, કેમ કે પેલું 270 થી ઓછું છે, આમાં બી નો, ખાલી આમાં જ વધે છે 330 થઈ જાય 270 થી વધી જાય છે એટલે એટલે છેલ્લે જ કેસમાં ખાલી સ્પેશિયલ રિઝોલ્યુશન પાસ કરવું પડશે ટુ જો લોન લેવો હશે તો આ, કેમ કે પેલું 100% ઓફ પેડ અપ શેર કેપિટલ ફ્રી રેઝોન સિક્યોરિટીઝ પ્રીમિયમ થી વધારે છે એટલે. થેન્ક યુ.